Hapo no, wewe mlete hapa, wewe lete hapa, wewe.
Being a politician in Kenya, especially holding the highest office, is undeniably fraught with danger. It has never been an easy role, as numerous leaders, including both current and former presidents, can attest, having survived multiple life-threatening incidents. Even someone like the current president William Ruto, often described as tough and unyielding in the face of danger, cannot ignore the risks to his own safety. As a result, President Ruto is now one of the most heavily guarded leaders globally. However, the presence of legions of security officers around him does not eliminate the possibility of danger. His enemies may still attempt to breach his security. Nevertheless, observing the president moving freely without fear speaks volume about the professionalism and preparedness of those entrusted with his safety. Like his predecessors, Ruto has encountered his fair share of troubles and close calls during his political career. In this episode, we dive into how Kenya's presidents have navigated danger, including assassination attempts during the zenith of their political tenures.
Hello, my name is Chief Okuzo from Plug TV.
Number 1. Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. This Kenya's first president found himself targeted by factions from the Nyanza region following the deaths of Tom Mboya and Arguing Kodhek in 1969. It appeared as though the president had walked into a trap facing enraged youths thirsting for his blood. Fortunately, his vigilant bodyguards swiftly regained control of the situation, sending many to hell or jail, depending on which one was near. Amidst the turmoil of 1969, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta had already parted ways with Nyanza's political doyen, Mr. Oginga Odinga, due to mutual distrust. Consequently, Oginga had instigated a mass exodus from the ruling party KANU, forming the Kenya People's Union (KPU). Adding salt to injury, the loss of Tom Mboya, one of Nyanza's political luminaries, to an unknown assailant further exacerbated tensions. Speculation went round that Mboya harbored ambition to succeed Kenyatta, a prospect that did not sit well with the president. Consequently, Mboya fell victim to assassination, allegedly orchestrated by Nahashon Jenga from Kiambu. Now, the assassination of Tom Mboya heightened tensions between the Kikuyus and Luos, as the perpetrator was a Kikuyu, and the Luos harbored resentment toward Mzee Jomo Kenyatta immediately. Surprisingly, just 4 months after Mboya's assassination, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta embarked on a tour of Western and Nyanza regions to inspect development projects, with Kisumu being the final stop. Accompanied by his Vice President Moi, former Vice President Oginga, and the officials the president entourage usually greeted with praise along the roads faced a stark contrast this time. Young men and women lined the highway, chanting "Ndume, Ndume," which means bull, signifying a hostile reception. As Kenyatta approached Kisumu, the situation escalated, leading to the police opening fire, causing chaos and injuries among the youths, with those captured subjected to severe beatings by the presidential security. Kenyatta's entry into Oginga's political stronghold was met with anticipation given their enmity. Oginga, prepared for a verbal duel, received a warm reception, indicating that Kenyatta was already on a hostile ground. Before Vice President Moi could introduce Kenyatta to the residents, chaos erupted, with chairs and stones hurled at the dignitaries. Despite Kenyatta's pleas for calm, the unruly crowd persisted, prompting the president's bodyguard to resort to gunfire to disperse them. chaos brewed in the midst of the gathering. Bullets found their marks, leaving some in the throng wounded, others already fallen, and many more struggling with injuries. Amidst the chaos, the stampede brought further turmoil. A desperate rush triggered by the crack of gunfire. Among the frantic crowd, even children were trampled as they sought refuge from the violence. In the aftermath, the playground became a scene of scattered bodies, the injured strewn across the ground. The tension was palpable, prompting one of the presidential guards, Mr. Gisheru, a burly figure akin to a bouncer, to swiftly hoist President Kenyatta onto his shoulders. Carrying him to safety with an urgency lifted him clear off the ground and towards the waiting presidential limousine, parked at a distance from the dais. It became evident to the security detail that the president was perilously close to harm's way, with projectiles aimed towards the dais. Once the president was securely inside the vehicle, the security team swiftly cordoned it off, ensuring his safety. Surrounded by top security officials, including Ben Gedhi, the then commandant of GSU, and Mr. Njino, head of presidential escort, President Kenyatta remained resolute. Despite the urgency to evacuate, he adamantly insisted on staying to officiate the opening of the hospital himself, refusing any substitute in his stead. A picture of the scene shows the president sandwiched between heavily armed guards, towering figures whose presence dwarfed him and his considerable stature. With pistols at the ready, they formed a formidable barrier prepared to defend or dispatch any threat that dared to approach them. Some stood with their hands poised at their waist, ready to draw their firearms at a moment's notice, while others gripped their weapons firmly, their sole purpose to safeguard the president, Jomo Kenyatta. The security present at the incident was not felt but seen, a visible reminder of the fraught situation. GSU and regular police officers patrolled every corner, while the presidential escort remained vigilant around their charge. Among the dignitaries, Oginga Odinga sat amongst government officials and political leaders from Nyanza province, while ordinary citizens gathered eagerly to witness the inauguration of their new health facility. After the official opening of the hospital by the president himself, it was time for Madenge and his team to pack up and head back to Nairobi. The presidential motorcade departed Kisumu with several GSU and military vehicles filled with soldiers providing escort to Nakuru. That marked President Kenyatta's final trip to Kisumu since the incident until his passing in 1978 August. Number 2. Mwai Kibaki. The third president of Kenya, Mwai Kibaki, faced challenges both in his political career and personal life. During his political journey, Kibaki found himself wheelchair-bound just days before a crucial general election where he aimed to challenge the long-standing rule of Daniel Moi, who had been perceived by many as a dictator, having governed Kenya for nearly 25 years, the longest presidential tenure in Kenya's history. However, Moi was adamant about retaining power and saw in Uhuru Kenyatta, the son of Kenya's founding president Jomo Kenyatta, a potential successor who would effectively continue his legacy. This move was met with the resistance from Kenyans who rallied behind Kibaki, viewing him as a capable leader. The ensuing political battle was fierce, with Kibaki emerging as a favorite among Kenyans. Yet, tragedy struck during the heated campaigning period when Kibaki was involved in a serious road accident. While some suspected foul play orchestrated by Moi's camp to thwart Kibaki's ascent to power, Kibaki's bodyguard David Wambugu maintained that the accident was not deliberate. In November, as the campaign for the December 27, 2002 general election reached a fever pitch, Kibaki embarked on a tour of Mwingi and Kitui, accompanied by politicians like Kalonzo Musyoka, David Musila, Raila Odinga, and many others. He spent 2 days rallying support. As the rallies concluded on his final day, Kibaki hastily departed in his Range Rover, accompanied by his bodyguard, Mr. David Wambugu, with Raila Odinga's car trailing behind. Rushing to Nairobi for a crucial 7 p.m. meeting at Muthaiga Club, tragedy struck at the Makutano Junction in Machakos County. Kibaki's vehicle collided with 2 pedestrians, veering off the road and ultimately crashing into a ditch after hitting a pole. Recalling the incident, Wambugu emphasized that it was an accident, dispelling any notion of foul play.
Kufika karibu na Machakos standoff, hapo ndio kulikuwa na manyunyu. Watu wawili walikuwa wanapita kwa barabara. Hawa watu ndio to obstruct. There was no foul play when watu vikilia. It was just normal an accident just like any other. Kwa sababu watu wawili to obstruct, tukawagoga wakufa. Gari yetu ikafuka barabara. Bahati mzuri wakati tulifika kwa ile Mombasa road hapo, kwa sababu gari kiroll, hakuna mabasi ya kawaida ilikuwa inapita hapo. So tukaenda pande ile tukagonga kigia stima, tukafikiria pengine saa hiyo gari imesimama. Kiki kafujika, tukaingia kwa shimo. Tukiingia kwa shimo hata kabla tu hatujafika chini nikamsikia mzee akiniambia in my native language. Tulikuwa tumesema si hatujaongea naye Kisugu ama Kiswahili, ni Kikuyu tu. Kaniambia woi waboko netoa kuwa nikamwambia saa tutikwete, nikamshika. Kushika tukaenda kwa ile shimo.
Musila sprang into action, swiftly organizing assistance for the injured presidential candidate. He coordinated with AMREF flying doctors to dispatch an ambulance to transport Kibaki to Nairobi Hospital. In a bid to save Kibaki's life, Musila personally transported the gravely injured candidate in his own car, engaging him in conversation as they made their way towards Nairobi. Kibaki was swiftly airlifted to a hospital in London under the attentive care of Dr. Dan Gikonyo. Anxiety gripped the NARC coalition in the aftermath of the incident, fearing it might provide Uhuru Kenyatta, the KANU flag bearer, an advantage in the upcoming election. Compounding their concerns, Kibaki's running mate Kijana Wamalwa found himself hospitalized also in the same London facility due to illness during a foreign trip. With Kibaki and Wamalwa both hospitalized, the burden of the presidential campaign fell on Kibaki's allies, particularly under the leadership of Raila Odinga, who was the then Lang'ata MP. Reports suggest that Raila not only utilized personal resources for the campaign, but also ensured Kibaki received optimal medical care for a swift recovery. Kibaki responded positively to treatment in London, returning to Nairobi to a jubilant reception on December 14, 2002. Thousands of supporters flooded the streets of Nairobi to welcome Kibaki home, causing his convoy to take 3 hours to reach the Central Business District (CBD). Despite being confined to a wheelchair with the neck support, Kibaki was accompanied on an open-top van by Dr. Gikonyo as supporters gathered in Uhuru Park for a prayer meeting. Just 2 weeks later, Kibaki achieved a landslide victory in the elections, marking the first time an opposition candidate had defeated KANU. Now, despite his inauguration taking place while still in a wheelchair, the spirits of tens of thousands of supporters remained high as they returned to Uhuru Park to witness the historic handover of power. Number 3. Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto. These two prominent figures in Kenyan politics have weathered their fair share of controversies and challenges, including assassination scares. Despite once holding the highest office in the land, they found themselves at odds, treating each other as enemies and even trading accusations of sinister plots.
Nataka nimwombe rais wetu wa Kenya, tafadhali bwana rais, you shouldn't be the source of threats in Kenya. Wacha kutisha wa Kenya.
The rift between the two began to surface just years before the 2022 general elections. Uhuru Kenyatta pointed fingers at Ruto, accusing him of harboring a thirst for power and resorting to unethical means, including the misappropriation of public funds, to maintain his grip on authority. Kenyatta viewed his deputy president as a significant threat. Adding fuel to the fire, in 2022, a businessman named Livondo alleged that someone with close ties to the president had conspired to assassinate him. According to Livondo, the purported assassination plots involved attempts to sabotage aircraft used by the heads of state.
Kama wewe uko na ndugu yako, uko na rafiki yako, na yeye anataka kuweka chini akuangushe na ndege mara mbili, utamsamea? Nitoboe, utamsamea? Rais alikuwa anatoka Kisumu ya kwanza. Rais alikuwa anaenda America through Dubai, ndege karudishwa Kenya, alikuwa anataka kuangushwa chini. Na sisi tunacheka tu.
In response to Livondo's accusations, William Ruto vehemently rejected them, cautioning against the potential for such unfounded claims to destabilize Kenya. Moreover, in 2019, President William Ruto faced a grave threat when reports surfaced of a clandestine meeting among Mount Kenya leaders at a hotel Lamada, allegedly conspiring to undermine him, even to the extent of plotting his assassination due to his proximity to succeeding Uhuru Kenyatta. Informing President Uhuru Kenyatta of the purported conspiracy, Ruto prompted swift action as law enforcement launched an investigation into the matter. Various government officials, including former CS Peter Munya, Joseph Musheru, and Cecily Kariuki, along with several PSS and parastatal heads, confirmed being summoned in response to a circulating letter discussing a suspicious gathering at Hotel Lamada. They revealed that upon their arrival, they were informed of Ruto's allegations of an assassination plot. Although the authenticity of the letter remained unverified, it purportedly outlined plans to undermine the deputy president.
So what should be done today is that those who want to be part of the criminal gangs that discusses how to assassinate other Kenyans, they should quit government, let them go and try to revive Mungiki, let them go and try to revive Musumbichi, let them go and try to revive Wakaliwao, then the law will deal with them at that level.
I think it's irresponsible, unfair, and it intended to portray us in a very bad light so that we look like criminals who meet to plot criminal activities against.
In response, President Uhuru Kenyatta bolstered Ruto's security detail, significantly enhancing his protection. Consequently, Ruto became one of the most heavily guarded figures in the country, a reality lamented even by former Interior CS Matiang'i due to the extensive security personnel accompanying the deputy president at that time. And ever since then, and right now since William Ruto's is the president, his life has been under constant surveillance by his meticulously trained security team, with every movement and action closely monitored. And that is why it is hard for any person to harm the fifth president of Kenya, William Ruto. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Leave your thoughts in our comment section. That is it for now. Thanks for watching. Let's meet next time. Bye-bye.